What if tomorrow you woke up and just like that, you had the body you've always dreamed of? Your health was on point, energy levels were high, and your confidence, through the roof. Completely Possible Fitness wants you to know that it's possible to change your life and make your dreams come true. We specialize in weight loss, muscle building, functional training, group exercise, and nutritional advice. Don't let another day go by not having exactly what you want. Contact Copo Fit and let us help transform your life. Copo Fit is on all social media, or you can email us at copofit@gmail.com. That's COPOFIT@gmail.com. Do you love drama as much as I do? Plot shifts and heart-pounding turns will keep you enthralled in the new book, Soiled Sheets by Phoenix Ash. Dana and Marshall are drawn to each other, but their flame has a tendency to burn and splinter all that once mattered, quite possibly even each other. Will they make it through the debris or become part of the ruins? Find out when you purchase your copy of Soiled Sheets by Phoenix Ash, now available via Amazon Books and all Kindle devices, and it's free with Kindle Unlimited.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at?
Well, actually, I live in Delaware now, so does that make me a Delawarean?
Sing it, girl.
You know, Beyonce is my friend in my head. Jay my people sometimes, too.
Yeah. I mean, like, be true, man.
You know, when I was a kid, I had an imaginary enemy. Like, does that make me crazy?
Life as P, presented by Say What Radio.
Hi guys, welcome my friends. This is Life as P. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate all those who are return listeners who keep coming back to listen to all my rants and raves and things that are on my mind. If this is your first time listening, thank you. Thank you for giving me your time, giving me a shot. Hopefully you'll find something that nurtures your soul, helps you have a more passionate, purposeful, goal accomplishing life. I hope, or at the very least, you're entertained. So, as most of you know who have listened before, I am a writer. I have published 2 novels during this past year, In Her Makeup, as well as Soiled Sheets. Both books are available on Amazon as well as Kindle. In addition, I have a motivational book, Long Neck Bottles, which I'm very proud to say is now on Audible. It's also on Amazon and Kindle. You can do like the free trial with Audible and download Long Neck Bottles as one of your free books. Or if you have Kindle Unlimited, you get all my books free, and that would be great. I also have a new book, which is more like a Christmas stocking stuffer. So great for the holidays. It's called Musings While Binging. And it's sort of like an extension of the show. So I think you might find that as a bit fun. Anywho, I want to talk about our emotional state and the things that we do to ourselves as well as to other people. We sort of like put them in emotional prisons. So that whole hang in there, like it'll get better. And sometimes hang in there is appropriate. Sometimes it's definitely a situation that has the promise to get better, particularly if it was good at one time and it went south for a little while. It does have the potential to come back around if you weigh what's going on properly. But I'm talking about those situations where someone is having a really hard time consistently in the same situation, and we tell them to hang in there as though the people involved are not adults, as though the issues involved are not character flaws, and sort of like tie them to a situation with our advice. Or we do it to ourselves, like, oh, okay, we're going to martyr ourselves. We're just, well, I'm just a good woman because I hung in there through all his BS. No, don't do that to yourself. Particularly when you're dealing with someone that this is a pattern of behavior. This person has always been this way. You can't sit around and like wait for people to change. I'll give you an example. And this is not even like romantic relationship. This is work relationship. So working at a job and the supervisor is like really hard and really demanding and definitely micromanages and just has a really tough personality, very tough to please. And someone who's been on the job for a very short period of time, a lot of the times the advice is hang in there. But I feel like in this day and age, the stigma of you can't settle down in a job and all that stuff is long gone, right? Nobody expects you to stay in a job for 20 years. If you do, that's wonderful. That's great. And if you have a great experience with that, kudos. But a lot of people move around, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to be looking for the situation that serves them. And I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm definitely about designing the space you want to live in and designing your own happiness. So, if you've spent time at a job and it doesn't serve you, or, there are things about yourself that are coming to light that you feel are a direct result of your experience at work, I say move on. And if you're going to hang in there, figure out what's your why. Are you hanging in there because temporarily you need this financial blessing to get back on your feet? Or you're getting back into the workforce and you just need to get 6 months to a year under your feet so that you can stand up straight and then take those skills and move somewhere? Or whatever, or this is the position that will allow you entryway into some other position. Fine. But don't just hang in there for the sake of hanging in there. I was talking with one of my relatives and she was saying that through her first marriage, she was having issues with her husband for quite some time. They did eventually get divorced, but they got divorced way after they probably should have. So she endured some things that she probably didn't have to endure for the sake of hanging in there. And she said that one of the reasons why she hung in there is someone that was very close to her that she trusted. She trusted that person, made better decisions than her, and that person was like, hang in there. And I don't think they really discussed why she should hang in there. I kind of feel like if they would have fleshed it out, if she would have asked why and they would have went back and forth on it, that maybe that other person would have said, you know what? Maybe no, maybe don't. Maybe don't hang in. And not that like your friend's advice should rule what you do, right? It's always so hard to be like, well, I didn't take their advice and look where I am, or I did take their advice and look where I am. And so to some degree, right, we have to take responsibility on what we decide to do. When my friends have issues in relationships and vice versa, when I have an issue in mine, the way that I typically handle things is if you're going to stay, here are some tips that may make staying easier. If you are going to leave, here are some tips that may make leaving easier. Because when it comes down to it, a lot of us, particularly us in long-term marriages, when it comes down to it, we're not really looking for someone to tell us what to do. It's so hard because hindsight, of course, is 2020. So we're like, oh, well, you told me, blah, blah, blah. But like, honestly, would you have listened to any other advice that was given to you? So sometimes people give you the advice they think that you're going to listen to or that you're looking for, because none of us truly knows someone else's mind. But, honestly, when we're telling each other to hang in there, stick it out, what are we talking about? What's the why? Is it because we believe in, marriage is hard and listen, I'll be the first person to tell you it is very hard. And I've been in mine for longer than 10 years and it's still hard sometimes. Sometimes it's easy breezy and it's beautiful flowers and red hearts circling my head. But other times those hearts got daggers in it. So I don't know. And I will tell you, I don't have a formula to successful or long-term marriages. And I'm always leery when somebody else feels like they have a formula to offer me, because what works for you is not going to work for me. And we're too individualistic. There's just too many variables involved for some blanket advice that's going to cover us all. So yeah, as the person taking the advice, you do have to sort of weigh out what the question is, but also as people giving advice, you do have to weigh out what it is that you're giving. And what value system are you basing your advice on? Are you, like I said, are you basing it on people should never get divorced? Okay. If you're the person asking for advice, maybe that's not the person that you ask. Or are you asking someone who's single and never been married? And so although they can imagine what you may be going through in a relationship, don't necessarily know the differences when you're married. And trust me, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, it's different when you're a mom. It's different when you're married. It's sort of put you down because you've never been in this experience. But when I became a mom and when I got married, there were things that I thought were so common and so regular and so easy to understand that I was like, all right, I might have been a little off, because it's different. It's very different. I don't know what happens. It's like some magical spell or something just changes the atmosphere quite. And it's over time. It's nothing like real drastic. It's just like little tidbits over time. And all of a sudden you're in a totally different mindset, different situation. I don't know. It's like someone cast a spell on me, or I don't know. Maybe I'm still asleep. But anyhow, that was what's on my mind, is just what... And not, like I said, not that what you say can dictate what somebody else does, but still be mindful of your advice. What value system are you basing it on? You know, I've had situations at work, and I've done it to myself. And that's why I said not just the advice that we're giving, but the advice that we're creating within ourselves. I had a situation quite a few years ago at work, and I had seemed to bond with the people that I was working with and working for, at least so I thought. And I don't know, it was like really that deep. Now, after about 2 years in the position, I saw that it may not really serve me anymore, that I may need to look for something else. It was too hard to get equal pay, the pay that I deserved. It was too hard to find where I fit in the organization. It was too hard to say, how do I grow? And there was no one really taking me under their wing or advocating for my growth. They would advocate for me to stay. Absolutely. They would advocate for me to get recognized in small moments, but there was no one trying to truly impact my career or allow me to use their experience to spring up. Nobody to truly hear what it was that I wanted to do or to help me in whatever way that I was trying to navigate, to the point where it was harmful and almost blocking. So it was like people who would be offered up to me as people who are supposed to help would fall off. They would not follow through with meetings. And I know it sounds like I'm putting a lot of onus on them, but I'm truly putting the onus on me, because those were signs for me that this may not be the situation that I need to stay in. If I'm looking for something else, if I'm trying to grow, and it's obvious that this is not the place for me to grow, then I need to go seek other soil. And, but I felt like I had this deep relationship, this bonded relationship with several of the people that I worked with, and I was loyal. And so even when I went on job interviews, they would give me the feedback and say, we love you. We'd love to have you here. We're just curious as to why you want to leave. You speak so highly of the people that you work with and work for. You seem to have a deep-rooted love for them. I'm just astounded that you want to leave. And to the point where I was like, maybe I don't. So when the situations weren't convenient to me, I, of course, didn't take the other jobs. But then I stopped looking and was like, maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I just need to sit down and stay where I am. I love these people, whatever. And then I had a personal situation, a couple of situations where a couple of my coworkers, I went away, I went to London, and a couple of my coworkers tore me out the frame and talking behind my back with just inaccurate information, saying that I didn't leave stuff behind the way even though I did. And then when I came back and I'm trying to figure out, well, what did I do wrong? And what issues did you have? And what can I help solve? No one had any answers for me. They were like, what? No, I don't know what you're talking about. As if they didn't go talk to my boss. And when you go talk to someone's boss about where they're falling short, that's serious business. And not only did it make me recognize that my relationship with these women was not what I thought it was, it also made me recognize my relationship with my boss was not what I thought it was, because he was very clear with me that he thought that they were acting out of jealousy. And still, going forward, he would ask me questions as though I didn't follow up on my job, as though he was going back to the information that these women presented to him. And it took the same group of women, 6 months later, they got together and they offered me, they went to HR and they got me a $100 gift check, Amex gift check, for quote unquote being so helpful. Meanwhile, I had not changed my working style not one bit. And that's when my boss finally let it go. And it was like, wow, so who you know me to be and who you know my work to be means nothing. Nothing. You trust their work. That's the word that matters. It's not mine. And so if they're not going to advocate for me, and those are the words that matter, I need somebody else to speak on my behalf other than me. I'm going to speak on my behalf. Believe that. But sometimes, you need a co-signer. That's just how corporate works. But and then another situation followed up behind that a couple of years later, because yes, I was slow to move. When things are sort of convenient, very difficult to move. That's my crux to bear. Like I don't know. I'm trying to get out of that. When things are convenient, I'm like, ugh, I could do it all over. But, I had some other people that I was working with, that I was working for, and I just, came across some information that made me know that I wasn't as valuable to them as I thought I was. And here I am, still in this position, still at this salary, still at this job, which is an hour away, very inconvenient, out of what I thought was loyalty and love. And, I want to stay, to help support you and your goals and get you where. And so here I am, mad that I gave so much of myself, or I quote unquote sacrificed, right? Nobody asked me to do it, but sacrificed out of a love and loyalty relationship that was really a figment of my imagination. It didn't exist. How many people we know are in love and loyal relationships that are figments of their imagination? It's one-sided. And so I did that to myself. I had myself hang in there. And when I look back, I'm like, what was my why? I don't have a why. Like, okay, you have a great relationship with the people that you work with, but that can't be your why, because if the relationship is what it is, you'll keep in touch. Like, you can keep in touch with people. You can still, I have a boss that I still talk to via text, or I may call, or I may go see. You can keep in touch. If the relationship is that deep, keep in touch, but do not keep yourself in a situation that doesn't serve you and may possibly be detrimental to you for some false idea of a relationship. Even just being in one of my contract jobs and people asking me like, oh, how long are you on this contract for? And I'm like, I don't know, because contracts could be extended, or you can decline the extension, whatever. And hearing, I don't want you to go. Yeah, me now, I respond very differently. Before, that would really make a decision for me. Like, oh my God, they love me, and, we have a great working relationship, and that's so hard to find. And because it's so hard to find, I need to stick to the one I have. It ain't that hard to find. You got to kiss some toads before you find your prince, but and it ought not to be that hard to find. If you're in a working situation and you making a good team hard to find, shame on you. So, I don't want to work with you anyway. But, when people say, I don't want you to go, I love having you here. Yes, that feels great. Thank you so much. We'll see. We'll see what the situation turns into. We'll see what's being offered. We'll see what the impact to my future looks like, because, I take a contract job. It's holiday time. I got to get some additional money so that we could survive the holidays, or just be in winter. All the heat bill going up, hot water. You got to find multiple ways to keep your household running. And, some stuff is good for now. And you meet people that you never would have met, and you make relationships that you never would have had. But like I said, if they're truly good relationships and they're deep relationships, you'll keep in touch. But even like in relationships, in romantic relationships, when things are rough or looking like this is not what I wanted, my life is not panning out to what I wanted to look like, to the point where it's like, oh my God, woe is me. I hate my life. How did I get here? I'm so disgusted by it. This can't be. You have to change trajectory. And sometimes we keep ourselves tied because we're like, oh, he's such a good guy, or oh, she's such a good woman. And I just don't want to hurt them. So for the sake of not hurting someone, you going to stay in this long-term relationship that has you miserable. Come on. You can't. Keep in touch. If the relationship if they're that good of a person that you think they are, if the relationship is that deep on a friendship level or a respect level, respect them enough to be honest and truthful about where you stand. Separate the relationship. For some people, when they do it and they do it right, they become friends long term, and just like, oh yeah, that shouldn't even been a relationship, but great friend. And when I say friend, it doesn't mean confidant. Like, you don't move on to the next relationship and then discuss your relationship with them. That's just disrespect. It's just disrespectful to discuss your present relationship with anybody that you slept with. That's my rule of thumb. I'm like, no, it's disrespectful. You ain't gonna get me. I don't care how much I used to love you. You're not gonna get me to talk about my husband could have been an asshole 2 minutes ago, a whole 2 minutes ago. And we could be in a discussion. You will not hear me tell you about my gripes and displeasures. You will not. That is my rule of thumb. You don't go discussing what your partner did to piss you off with anybody else that you slept with. Don't do that. That just leads to confusion. Nah. I don't even really talk to too many people that I slept with. So I definitely ain't telling you the ins and outs of my business. But I'm just thinking on that. Like, we tie ourselves to situations or give each other advice without a why, without a true understanding of the moral code or moral system that we're basing our advice on. Sometimes people are just saying just blanket things to each other, like, yeah, whatever. Listen, if you're not the person who can be a sounding board, if you're not the person to listen to the hurt and displeasures, if you're not the person who is going to comfort the friend, be upfront about that. Like, I hear you. I know that it's difficult. Don't sit on the phone rolling your eyes. Don't do that, because that person needs somebody and you're just taking up time, and they need to know blanketly that you're not that person. Understand that also means that person probably won't be that person for you. But yeah, don't just roll your eyes and give them some blanket advice that you don't even know the why, because they're struggling. They're coming to you because they're struggling, and not necessarily because they need advice or want advice, and not because they're going to take it. You can't take it personal that they didn't take your advice the first time or the second time or the third time. They might take it the fifth time, or they may never take it. Either way, when giving it, you don't take the advice that you do. It's not a game. Like, oh, I think this one's gonna win. I think this piece of advice is gonna win. This is gonna be the one that they actually take. Nah, you don't do that. I just want to know, like, why? Why do we do that to each other? There was a time in working relationships that the advice that I would receive is hang in there. You just got there, or you've been there 3 months, or you've been there 6 months, and things will get better. Sometimes it's good to recognize the blessing and seeing the faultiness of the situation up front, and just saying, like, particularly when you get older, it's like, I've seen this before, I felt this before, I know what this is. So you figure out your why, you figure out your plan? Am I going to stay here for 6 months? Am I going to stay here for 9? Am I going to stay here for 2 years? But what's my why? What's my why? I used to hate, I worked at this one job and I used to hate when people would, not hate, but I would feel really bad when people would tell me, oh yeah, I always wanted to do X, Y, and Z. I want to work for a nonprofit organization, or I wanted to be a teacher, or whatever. And it's just like, okay, so what stopped you from pursuing? Because my mind is automatically like, how can I help you? You sharing this with me because, and sometimes I got to be reeled back in. You got to tell me, I don't need your help. I'm just talking. My husband has to tell me that sometimes. He'd be like, honey, I'm just talking. I'd be like, oh, okay, let me shut up then. But in general, I'm like, why are you not pursuing this goal? Why is it a dream? Why is it not a goal? And then if it is a goal, when do you plan on getting started? Or are you in the throes of it? What's going on? What's your progress looking like? And people would be like, well, no place is going to pay me like this place. So this place got you brainwashed to think that this is the only spot that you could get your kind of money? Stop it. Very few, most companies are in competition with some other company. So companies that are in competition with each other typically pay about the same amount because they're competing. Stop it. Stop trying to convince yourself of why you don't feel like moving. Just say you don't feel like moving. Because then I'll be like, well, have you researched that? Have you looked into the other companies? Have you looked into well, no, because so you just talking. Listen, I will tell you, I'm not the person for you to just be talking to, because automatically I'm trying to figure out how can I help you. Not necessarily give advice, but maybe I know somebody who can help you get to where you're trying to go. I don't know. We hold our plight so close to our chest. Oftentimes we skip over so many people who can help us execute because don't nobody know what we're looking to execute. But either way, I feel like when giving advice or when convincing yourself to stay in a situation or even to move on from a situation, figure out what's your why. What is your why? And does it make sense? Are you tying yourself to situations and people due to some false sense of security in the relationship? Is the relationship something that is strong enough to survive outside of your current situation? If it is, then it should be okay for you to change your situation. I don't see what the problem is. And maybe somebody can enlighten me and tell me what the drawbacks are and that it's not so black and white. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter @PWrites or on Instagram @PWrites. Tell me it's different. Tell me it's the same. Tell me what you do in those situations. Have you morphed into something else? Did you get tied up in a situation that you were trying to wait out till it got better? Did it get better? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it got better. Maybe you were there long enough to go through 4 or 5 managers until they found the right one for you. I don't know. That's too much time, child. But anyhow, hit me up @PWrites on Twitter, @PWrites on Instagram. Talk to me. Let me know what's going on. I appreciate those messages you slide up in my DMs. I just wish I could discuss more of this stuff you slide in, but that's fine. That's fine. I love talking to you guys. Anyhow, that basically wraps up the show for today. Please pick up my books. Musings While Binging is available on Amazon. Great stocking stuffer. Great to couple with whatever gifts that you're giving your college kids or your friends that love to binge on TV, memes, internet, all of that stuff. It's really fun, really good. Long Neck Bottles, once again, is on Amazon Kindle as well as Audible. Soil Sheets, as well as In Her Makeup, are both available on Amazon and Kindle. And I just got a really great review for Soil Sheets. I'm very happy about that. Please review the book. If you have any of my books and you've read them, I know sometimes we buy books and we just collect them. And I appreciate you guys too. But if you've read them, please go on Amazon, give me a review. Let me know what you think, good or bad. Just say that you read it. Hey. But until next time, and we can do lunch. Peace.